We're back, Kelly and I. We spoke about social media earlier, and social media is obviously a place that's where young people converge and where political debates are being had. But now I'm taking you back to 1994, Kelly, with some stuff that we've got, or that I've got. How old were you in 1994? Not to age shame you, or nothing. It's not an issue about ageist, but for interest's sake.
I was 3 years old.
So what I've got here, Kelly, when you were 3 years old, was it's a lot of memorabilia about or from the 1994 election.
Very cool.
For example, these two peaks, the one the National Party and the other a peak with Nelson Mandela's face on it, and these aren't fake; they're original. Kelly, would you like to put that on? And these two parties were obviously the big parties in 1994.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Well, can't wear it now,
no.
but this is fun. Biblical Issues Voters Guide. If you were uncertain about how to vote, this flyer helped you because it showed what the different parties' position was on different issues. For example, what does the Bible say about the economy? Should it be an open market or a socialist system? Now, the ACDP, yes, or open market, and the rest, most of them say it's a social market. So, based on the Bible, this flyer helped you make your decision, which is helpful. Bumper sticker that still works. We can put it up here. So there's a lot of interesting stuff that I've kept. The peaks are obviously very interesting, but this is very special. And I think it's illegal to have it, but nevertheless,
How did you acquire that?
We'll take it out of the IEC's Results Operational Center before they know. This is a booklet, an original booklet with a number of, almost 100 original voting ballots that I came into possession of. I'm not going to tell you how it happened, but this is the original voting ballot back then. So the interesting thing about this is, Kelly, the Inkatha Freedom Party, the IFP, refused to take part in the election, and it was a massive issue so short before the election. And it needed the intervention from international mediators, international figures, and in the end, Thabo Mbeki intervening, convincing the IFP to take part. But by the time that the IFP agreed to take part in the election, the ballots were already printed. So they printed millions and millions of stickers that had to be appended at the bottom by hand before people could go and vote.
So had to do that.
So I've got a lot of original.
And do you know how many of these parties still exist?
That's a good question. The PSC, did they take part? I don't think they did. Soccer Party, no. KISS Party, no. The Freedom Front Plus is still there. The Women's Rights Peace Party, no. Workers' List Party, no. Klimoko or Progressive Party, no. African Muslim Party, and there's Imtiaz Suleiman of Gift of the Givers. You know who's Imtiaz Suleiman, the guy that runs Gift of the Givers? He was the leader of the African Muslim Party. The ACDP is still there, and a number of other most of the other parties have left.
Is he still the leader of the ACDP?
No. He leads Gift of the Givers,
of the
organization.
ACDP.
Kenneth Meshwe.
Still, I interviewed him the other day. He looks much younger than...
Obviously Nelson Mandela, the DP is now the DA. Yeah. Federal Party, which was actually founded by Louis Lake, the rugby boss, and the other part, the National Party, of course, the governing party, just before the elections, it's disappeared. Along with your ANC peak, if you would do that again, going back to 94, is an original flag. So, I mean, if Nelson Mandela came past, you would have gotten this kit and you would have flown your flag. Wow. But you can take it off if you want. You can keep it.
No, I think I'm good.
Have you had the NP National Party one on?
No, not yet. I'm gonna.
You can skip it.
I'm gonna skip on that one.
What's interesting about this collection that I have is the Star, which was published shortly after the election, and apart from the cigarette ad on the bottom right, which we don't see anymore, Daniel's Special Lights. If you smoke, they're very. I don't think you get Daniel Special Lights anymore. But be that as it may, this was the Star shortly after the election when Nelson Mandela won, or the ANC won. And what's interesting is, apart from all the political reporting, is to see what the big movies of the day was.
Okay.
And there was a movie by Richard Gere and Sharon Stone which was quite big, called Intersection. I can't find it now. I think it might be in the Sunday Times. Doesn't matter, Kelly. The Sunday Times, the days before the election, with Walter Sisulu on the front page and a young first-time voter. Final step to freedom. Some interesting ads. Have a look at the one there, page 2, which tells you about the zeitgeist at the moment. If you want to immigrate, Australia, the inside story. And of course, during that time, a lot of people were contemplating.
I feel like this is still relevant, though, if this ad had to run.
But you can see how quickly they moved. I mean, days before the election, you saw ads of immigration services. Now, I just want to go to one story here in the Sunday Times that was published days before the election. Look at the SABC's big ad. You know, the SABC at that time was also considered to be a state broadcaster rather than a public broadcaster, and worked very hard to make sure that they are independent and impartial. Took out a full-page ad.
That's a fantastic ad.
That they watched the last gasp of apartheid minute by minute.
That's a really cool ad, yeah.
But just another one. Look at this.
More cigarettes.
More cigarettes. Look at that happy couple sharing a Benson and Hedges fag. Share the feeling, share the taste.
With the dog.
Yes, with the dog. Metro Rail's on time. Smirnoff vodka. The IFP's all over the show. If you page through this newspaper, the IFP was absolutely everywhere. Kenneth Meshre, that you interviewed the other day?
Yes.
Just take that half. There we go. This is the man. This is his vision.
Wow.
And he is still on the ballot.
He says we're going to be laughing after elections when the results come out.
Look at this interesting ad. He's made the change. That's FW de Klerk.
Wow.
He's lowered the old South African flag, but look what he's hoisted. The communist flag of the Soviet Union. So that was obviously the IFP's campaign back then, to tell people that, you know, apartheid might fall, but what's coming in? Communism and socialism.
Wow.
The rooi gevaar, very prominent. But where are those? This was interesting. Whilst the interesting thing looking through all these newspapers is that life actually went on. We were embroiled in this extraordinary election, the end of apartheid, the coming of democracy, but the rest of the world went on. Here's a feature on Brian Lara, the famous West Indian cricket player. On the back pages you can see sport still goes on. There was rugby still going on. Life carried on as normal. This is very interesting. Look at this big ad. The Democratic Party that later became the DA. They got 1.7% in that election.
Sure.
They were a very small party, and ads like this obviously didn't resonate with a lot of people because a lot of people were very scared. National Party. Here we go. Look at this. Look at this. Richard Gere, Sharon Stone in a movie called Intersection.
Can you still check the movies in the newspaper now?
I don't know.
I wouldn't know either.
How many newspapers do you read a day? But Intersection with Sharon Stone and Richard Gere, make every move as if it were your last.
It's just amazing to see print in its peak. It's such a different landscape now.
This was the Sunday Times middle page. If you can just grab that side. Ken Owen, the very famous old editor of the Sunday Times, writing about democracy and liberalism and why he supports the Democratic Alliance. And I told you moments ago about the IFP refused to take part in the election. This is a behind-the-scenes explanation of what happened. There's Mangosuthu Buthelezi. He is still on the ballot for the IFP. Where are the rest?
If anyone at home has any voting memorabilia that they have pictures on, please tweet us. We'd love to see them, and we can add them to our elections live update. So yeah, please take pictures of anything you have that is similar and send it to us. That'd be very cool.
I'd love it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of we'd love to see what our viewers and users have. Now, you know, do you want to discuss the PAC's manifesto? I think I'm very big on land.
Yeah, really.
But Kelly, this is my collection. I hope it was interesting or not.
No, it's fantastic. I mean, it's incredible that you still have all of this stuff.
When you go sleep tonight, you can take this along with you. Read the National Party's manifesto.
I've been looking for a copy,
well, there you go.
It's my lucky day.
Let's cut to the floor, and we're going to see what is happening on the floor of the National Results Centre here in Pretoria.